Hello and welcome to another Wolftime gaming video. Today we're going to be painting Oathsworn's Burrows and Badgers Border Collie. Lady Armstrong, I think it's called. If you have a look on the website for it, absolutely fantastic model, great stance, really easy to paint, loads and loads of detail. I really enjoyed painting it. For now, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But we'll get the kettle on and then we'll make a start. Okay, welcome back. So let's get started. So to start off the actual model itself, I picked up my Bad & Black, which is Citadel paints. Most of the paints I use for this model are Citadel, and essentially I went over all the fur of the model, of the actual the dog itself, and the nose as well. So any sort of dark areas or anywhere that's going to be that dark colour. I used a Bad & Black. I have been using a little bit of Corvus Black lately, but I thought that was a little bit too light, a little bit too grey. I wanted quite a dark black, so I did go for the Abaddon one that I had a pot of still. Great paint, went on really easily. There's loads of details on this model, and as I actually went through painting the model, I could see more and more that I'd really actually enjoy getting to. And there's a few things that changed as I painted it itself. Do the tail as well. You can see there now. You'll just see on the model what we've done, or what I did was leave a few areas like on the nose, a little bit on the ear, and the end of the tail I left white. Essentially just following what a traditional border collie would look like, and you can see that as well if you just Google a border collie. Essentially, have a picture next to you, and it's nice and easy. Next colour I used was the Rhinox hide. It's always my go-to for my dark browns, really. Rhinox hide, another Citadel base paint, and I did the boots in this colour. They are quite big boots. They do come up quite high. I wanted something that really stood out from the rest of the model. I went with a blue for the rest of the model, you see, so you'll see that in a little while. As you go through, went straight on the model. Make sure you use your palette though to try and thin this down. I tend not to do that sometimes. Then start with the actual clothing parts itself. I started with a Macaridge blue. Again, with a blue base paint, just give it a complete coat. Essentially, I could have used contrast paints with this. Again, same as the red coat that you can see on the screen. I didn't use contrast. I'm still not fully happy with contrast. I haven't had a lot of time painting with the contrast paints yet, so I've not tended to go near them, to be honest with you. I still do like those traditional sort of paints that you can pick up, and though Citadel have changed a lot of their range, there's still a lot of army painter paints out there and a lot of others. You can actually see my phone just in the corner there. I was just having a look at a few of the images of what I was trying to achieve with this blue, essentially, and with where the clothing actually sat on the model as well. You can see now moved on. The blue's all done, so I picked up an older paint I've got actually. It's another brown, which is Scorched Brown. And essentially I just went over the boots again just to give it a bit of a highlight, and then again with another brown I've got, which is the Mournfang Brown. Again, another base coat, but just give it a quick coat just over the top just to highlight any of those lighter areas. And then I could go back to the blue. Then it was nice and dry, so I picked up a new blue paint that I've got actually, which is Calgar Blue, a layer paint. I haven't used this one before, and it's a really nice one actually. Sort of it's not too light, and it's ideal for picking out the all the raised areas on the actual model itself. It's a great little paint, and I did just essentially just coat it straight from the pot itself. I then moved on to Xandri Dust. I got Xandri Dust a pot. Go to again. Always use Xandri Dust on one of my models. You'll always see me use it. It's a great colour, and you can really manipulate it quite well with some oils and things. So in this instance, I used it on the gloves, just to make the gloves stand out from the rest of the model, really. Just wanted them a little bit different to the boots. Next step was a little bit more fiddly, was the yellow areas. You'll see on the as the video goes on what effect I was going for, but I used the Avalanche Sunset and then Flash Gits Yellow to highlight that, and essentially it was all like the smaller areas in between the clothing on the blue. There's lots of like that. I'm not really quite sure what to call it, but they're like little raised areas of fabric. That I went over the whole model with, and this is a little bit more fiddly now, but they're quite easy to pick out. The size of the model really helps with picking that colour, and then use the Flash Gits Yellow as well. And there's a few ribbons around the arms as well that I went to with the yellow. You'll see it all when it comes together at the end anyway. Next up was a purple paint that I've got. And it's just really to highlight some of the grip areas around the sword. There's a few little points on the sword as well I use the same colour with. I then picked up a lighter grey paint that I've got called Dawnstone, and essentially I just wanted to highlight some of the darker areas, because I noticed as I actually painted the model itself that it lacked a little bit of detail on the fur. I then went over all the metal itself, and I just used Citadel's lead belcher for this one. It's my go-to for silver, to be honest. It's a nice colour. You stick some wash on there like Northern Oil, and it really does show really nicely. It gives you that great sort of shading with the mix between lead belcher and Northern Oil. It's definitely my go-to for this. And for this one, I just covered essentially all the metal areas, which included the breastplate, the back, and the actual sword itself. So it did take a little bit of time to get all those areas, especially now that I'd painted the rest of the model, so I had to be a little bit more careful with where I put that one on. Just while I'm on here as well, I didn't really show you the eyes very much. It's quite easy to do eyes now, especially with something this size. I just used a white scar layer paint, a white layer paint essentially. You just touch that onto the eyeballs itself, and then use a black. It can be any sort of colour really to actually do the iris of the eye. You just have to just touch it onto the eyeball, and it's nice and easy to get onto an effect of the eyes. So the next step that was the gold parts of the sword itself, which was used Retributor armor. I had left over for some Custodes and some Stormcast that I'd painted, and I just touched up a couple of the areas on the breastplate as well, just to make them show up a little bit more. And then there's a few little details just on the sword that I thought it'd look quite nice with like a purple sort of a gem, so I just used two shades of the purple, like a darker one and a light purple, just to pick out those details and make them a little bit more interesting rather than just a plain silver or the plain gold. So next step was the base itself. For that I used Corvus Black to start with, and just painted the rocks on the base. And then after the silver and everything had dried, I then got out the Northern Oil, gave the whole model a coat, just straight over the top of the whole thing, and it looks quite effective. The next step was the soil, just around the base itself, which was the Rhinox hide, and then finally we're on to flocking and things. And you've seen me do this before. Essentially I use a super glue just to hold the flock down and the clump foliage down. Used a few little flowered areas, and then coat the whole thing with a PVA glue, and that really does help it harden, help the flock, the clump foliage stay on. It helps the flock stay on, and the little flowers and things like that. And it comes together really quickly, really easily, and just wipe off the edges. But there we have it, all finished. So to finish off the model, really, I did touch up a couple of those yellow areas, but otherwise it's exactly what we've talked about. Really easy to paint. Look at the detail on there. There's not a lot, but there's in exact amount enough just to really make it stand out, I would say. Great model. Really enjoyed painting her. And I can't wait to get some more of these Burrows and Badgers minis. I really can't, because you can do so much with such great little models, and they look so. Make sure you leave a like, guys. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Give me some feedback on what you think of her. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. See what other videos. I've got loads of plans, like as we always do in this hobby, to paint more stuff, to get more out there. So make sure you subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.